What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's start actually with some major basketball news. So, Damian Lillard, now former Portland Trail Blazers superstar point guard, has been traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, who were not really involved at all throughout this whole thing. It was Miami. At the end, we heard Toronto was right there. Throughout the process, Brooklyn was kind of lingering around. But in a three-team trade with the Portland Trail Blazers, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Phoenix Suns, Damian Lillard heads to Milwaukee to team up with Giannis, and Chris Middleton is still there as well. In return, the Portland Trail Blazers get back Drew Holiday. They get him back from Milwaukee. They get back DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns. They get back Timoni Kamara. I don't really know who that is, some no name. And from Milwaukee, they get a first-round pick in 2029 and first-round swaps in 2028 and 2030. They have swap rights in those years. They get that from Milwaukee. Phoenix gets from Portland. They get Yusuf Nurkic, Nazir Little, Keon Johnson, and then from Milwaukee they get Grayson Allen. So Milwaukee now has Damian Lillard, Giannis, and Chris Middleton. That is really scary. You got Giannis, who's, I would say, a top 3 player in the league. You have Dame, who's gotta be top 10 to 15 in the league. One of the greatest shooters of all time. Then they also have Chris Middleton. Didn't have a great year last year. He's obviously battled injuries throughout his career, but overall, when he's been healthy, he's been a really good player. Obviously, you lose a lot of depth. You Drew Holiday, you basically swap him out with Dame. But you lose, Grayson Allen was a guy who's a scumbag, but he was not a bad bench piece. You had him, who you lose. So you lose a little bit of depth. Now, you still got Bobby Portis. You still got Pat Connaughton. They still got a couple of guys over there. I heard they're interested in looking at Cameron Payne, who's not a bad backup point guard. Was in the Suns the last few years. He was traded to the Spurs earlier in the offseason. A couple of Spurs cut him. I heard the Blazers are going to look to move Drew Holiday very soon when he's eligible, as well as Jeremy Grant. So they may not be done making moves. I like what the Suns did. They get Nurkic, who has a lot of trouble staying healthy. When healthy, is a very good offensive mind center. You get a couple depth pieces, and there's your Weddle. You get Keon Johnson for some depth. Grayson Allen, who's a scumbag, but not a awful wing to have on your bench. Suns really needed depth, and they get a little bit of that. And I do think use of Nurkic is an upgrade over DeAndre Ayton. I don't love Nurkic. He doesn't really play any defense. He's always hurt. But when he's healthy, he's a guy that can give you 20 points every single game. And now you put him next to Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. Having Yusuf Nurkic as your fourth option is not bad at all. But, so, big move there. The biggest loser of this whole thing, to be honest, is the Miami Heat. You lose Gabe Vincent, who down the stretch was your starting point guard, played very well in the playoffs in their historic finals run, going from the 8 seed, from the play-in game. They were down 3 points to the Bulls with 2 minutes left in that winner-go-home play-in game for the 8 seed. And then, they end up squeaking out of the play-ins. They go all the way to the final of upset after upset after upset. They lose Max Strus, who's a solid 3-and-D guy on your bench. You lose him in free agency. They look like they're going to get Damian Lillard and have a big three of Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo, which was an excellent big three. And you miss out on him. Last few years you've been linked to a lot of superstars. They were linked to Donovan Mitchell last year. Then didn't end up getting him. They were linked to Kevin Durant last year. Of course, didn't end up getting him. They were linked to Bradley Beal earlier this offseason. Of course, didn't quite work out. And now they were as linked to Damian Lillard as you can get. And they let him slip through their finger. This one, I think, definitely has to hurt. With Spida, the favorite was clearly the New York Knicks. And then combination of, the Knicks wanted to keep R.J. Barrett. I think part of it was what I've heard. Danny Ainge, who's the president of the Utah Jazz, kind of in a way to slight Spida Mitchell, because Donovan wanted to go to the Knicks. He said, all right, well, I'm not going to trade you there. and Cleveland just changed their mind. They jumped back in after they had pulled out of the race. Bradley Beal, I think Beal's a little overrated to me. He's a great player, but he's also always hurt. The Suns have a lot of draft capital. I'm not sure if I would want to do it if I was the Heat. Kevin Durant is obviously a top 5 player in basketball, but he's also always hurt. He's as unloyal as it gets. He needs a lot of help to win a championship. He has health issues. He's getting older now. He's 35, 36 years old. But Damian Lillard, still in his prime. I know he's got some injury concerns, but still, the Heat badly need a knockdown shooter. They've needed that for 2 or 3 years now, and they get it. You pair him with Jimmy Butler, who's a great player, all-star. Of course, is a beast in the play. Bam Adebayo is a really good player. And a team that, in the bubble was in the finals. In the bubble, loses in 5 to the Lakers, or 6 to the Lakers, and 2 years ago was in the conference finals. Just came up an inch short against Boston. This year, incredible run to the finals, but losing 5 to the Denver Nuggets. They're right there. They just, need that one more knockdown shooter, and they had him, and they let him slip through their fingers. Damian Lillard at one point said he only wanted to play for the Heat, and they still let him slip through their fingers. So that's a tough out. I've tried to defend Pat Riley. He's an incredible basketball mind, of course, one of the greatest coaches of all time. The Showtime Lakers. Of course, he was a coach of the Knicks for a while. And he coached Miami at one point before Alex Spoelstra came there. He's been the president of basketball operations there forever. He's done a great job. He's helped the Heat. He's been a part of pretty much all the Heat's championships, whether it be as a coach or as an executive. Now he's won, 3 championships or 4 championships? He's been to the finals with them in some way. 6 or 7 times? But he's missed on quite a few stars the last couple of years, Most of our teams undrafted free agent. That's very impressive. He's able to build a team that was in the finals with a bunch of guys being undrafted. Your highest pick player was, I'm not even sure, was a lottery pick, but he's missed out. He's also he's kind of like trying to build up a squad of a late first rounder, second rounder, as an undrafted free agent. It's hard to do. So we'll see what happens with Miami. Also, you still got Jimmy Butler, was a great player. Bam Adebayo was a very good player. Tyler Hero, of course, didn't get traded, so he's still there. You still got obviously you lose Vincent Truth, but you brought back Kevin Love. You still have you have Caleb Martin over there. You draft Jaime Jaquez in the first round at UCLA, a kid I like. You'll see Nikola Jovic, who was a late second rounder last year. Could he have more of a role? We'll see what happens with him. But he don't get him, but Dame goes to the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, with that being said, by the way, with the Toronto Raptors, they didn't want to move OG Anunoby. They just wouldn't dangle him, wouldn't even start a conversation. They also did not want to move Scotty Barnes or Pascal Siakam, so that's why he doesn't go to the Raptors. Only other bit of NBA news I had is Rudy Gay a day or 2 ago signed the Golden State Warriors on a 1-year deal, so they get some depth there. If Drew Holiday sweepstakes, I heard Miami is interested. They could definitely. I do think they need a point guard. They lose Gabe Vincent. Tyler Hero, to me, is a great 6-man, but he really hasn't figured out as a full-time starter. Kyle Lowry I do think can still play and help a team off the bench, but I don't think he's a starter anymore. So if they can get Drew Holiday, that would be a major win. Maybe you trade Hero, maybe somebody else in the pick, or Hero and a couple firsts for Drew Holiday. That could be a really good move. Be funny if Tyler Hero ends up going to Portland anyway. I heard the Boston Celtics are very interested. That would be scary. If they have Drew Holiday, Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis, something else. To To me, they still need a true point guard. Derek White can play the point. He's a very good player, but to me, he's more of a 2. And I like Malcolm Brogdon a lot. But they might need like a little more of a scoring point guard. And they would get that in Drew Holiday. Though Drew Holiday is more of a facilitator. He would still average 19-20 a game. There's a lot of teams interested in him. We'll see what happens there. Let's talk some baseball. Very end of the regular season. American League East, Baltimore still leads Tampa by 2.5 games. Baltimore's got 4 games left. Tampa with 3 games left. Of course, but both teams have already clinched the playoff spot. Orioles right now at 99 wins. Tampa at 97. Whoever wins that division will have home field advantage throughout the entire American League playoffs. Whoever does not win the division will be the first wild card. Again, you got that's that division. Minnesota clinched the American League Central. Looks like they'll end up with not winning 90 games, even though they're winning that division. American League West is still open. Texas leads Houston by 2.5 games and Seattle by 4 games. Yeah, Texas has got, it looks like, about 4 games left, so remember the number is, 2 to clinch that division, so it looks like they'll end up grabbing that division. And National League Braves, of course, they clinch home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs, I believe. Definitely throughout the National League. I think they're like 3 games clear of Baltimore right now. Yeah, they're 3 games clear of Baltimore for the best record in baseball with 4 games to go. But they clinched home field advantage throughout the entire National League playoffs, and the mentioned number is basically 1 to lock it up throughout the entire postseason period. Of course, the Phillies already clinched a playoff spot. National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers have that. They've locked that up. They clinched the division. Of course, Dodgers clinched the National League West. The wildcard picture in the American League. So Toronto is the second wildcard right now. They're a half game ahead of Houston for that second spot. Seattle is a game and a half behind Houston right now. So it's a fight for those last 3 spots. Seattle looks like they're going to be on the outside looking in, but CC season is not over yet. You lose 2 or 3 to Houston. It doesn't help, though. Toronto, though, just lost their last 2 to the Yankees. Last one, Garrett Cole for a complete game shutout, which probably secures the American League signing for him for the first time in his career. National League wildcard, of course, Phillies have already clinched the top wildcard spot. That's where they will be seated. The second team in right now is the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're 2 games up on the Cubs and the Marlins. Cubs and Marlins are tied for the last spot. Cubs at one point, a couple weeks ago, had like a 4 or 5 game lead, and they've been slumping a little bit down the stretch. And I've seen that lead kind of lost. But they're tied with Miami for the last spot. Cincinnati is a game and a half out, and San Diego is 3.5 out. They got red hot. They won like 7 in a row, got within like 3 or 4 games. Got themselves in striking distance. Then they lose a series. Something a little bit. They're 3.5 out. Last night they need, they basically need to win out. They need the Cubs and Marlins to lose out, and Cincinnati to lose 2 of 3. So it's very unlikely, but they're not dead yet. And everyone else is out. Even the San Francisco Giants the other day were eliminated from playoff contention. That's a super tight wild card race when it comes to baseball. We got news about Shohei Ohtani. So Ken Rosenthal, of course, very esteemed MLB analyst, said the Mets and the Dodgers are the favorites, but he could also end up going to maybe San Francisco Giants, Texas Rangers, or the Seattle Mariners. I hope the Mets get him. I do think it's still possible. I think the favorite's got to be the Dodgers right now. I think a deep sleeper could be the Seattle Mariners. I could definitely see him going there. They're a really young team who, I think it's time for them to make a major splash. They've made a couple. Obviously, Ohtani is from the same place as Ichiro. When you saw the impact Ichiro made on the Seattle Mariners, you got a couple of big-time international guys over there. Julio Rodriguez, Luis Castillo. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And with Ohtani, the Seattle Mariners are a team that, missed the playoffs, 22 years in a row. Made it last year, won a series. Are probably going to end up on the outside looking in this year. Still, however, had a good year. There isn't a really tough division. With Ohtani, I'm picking them to win the division next year and possibly come out of the American League if they get Shohei Ohtani. Probably win the whole thing, to be honest. We'll see what happens. And unfortunately, the other day, Brooks Robinson, 15-time All-Star with the Both from Orioles, one of the greatest third basemen ever, passed away at the age of 86, unfortunately. All right. It's let's do game picks for. Let's start off college football. So first game is tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Number 10 Utah against number 19 Oregon State. Oregon State's actually favored by a field goal in this one, but I'm actually gonna take Utah. Utah is always a really solid team. They got a good squad this year. DJ Uwangale has been kind of this year. A little better than last year at Clemson, but still not great. Oregon State's come up the first loss of the year. So I'll take Utah. Now into the Saturday games. Got number 6 Penn State against Northwestern. Penn State should roll in that one. Number 8 USC against Colorado. That was taking USC. Obviously, the Colorado train is probably going to hit another roadblock. I'm not sure if Travis Hunter is going to play. I would think he's probably not going to play. I'm not sure if this will be as lopsided, although, yes, USC is a little better than Oregon, but USC isn't as strong in the trenches. I don't know if it'll be 42-6, but I could see it being like 48-24. UC's favored by 21.5. It'll be close, but I could see them covering. But I don't think it'll be as bad as it was against Oregon. But I do have USC winning. Over-under is 73.5 on that one. That's crazy. I would not be surprised if they go over that. Number 22, Florida against Kentucky. I'm going to take Kentucky, actually. Their quarterback, Leary, for the Wildcats, has been okay this year. 1,060 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. Florida, they've lost. Kentucky does not. I think Kentucky slips by them. Top-ranked, Georgia against Auburn. I'm going to take Georgia. Auburn team has struggled the last few years. I'm taking Georgia. Number 2, Michigan against Nebraska. Michigan should win easily. Number 24, Kansas against number 3, Texas. I'm taking Texas. Number 23, Missouri against Vanderbilt. Missouri should win pretty much no problem. Vanderbilt obviously isn't that good. Number 13, LSU against number 20, Ole Miss. That should be a really good game, but I'm going to take LSU. I thought they had a legit shot to beat Alabama. Didn't happen. I'm taking LSU. Number 9, Oregon against Stanford. I'm going to take Oregon. I was saying it's number 14, Oklahoma. I'm taking Oklahoma. They've played pretty well so far. Dylan Gabriel has thrown for over 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, just 1 interception. Number 11, Notre Dame against number 17, Duke. This is a really fascinating game. Notre Dame's a team that, sometimes relevant, sometimes they're not. And Duke being good at football, we never thought we'd see. And all of a sudden, they're good at football all of a sudden. I'm going to take Notre Dame. I think it's a really good game. This could be the game of the week, but I'm going to take Notre Dame. I think they bounce back. Sam Hartman's played well so far. I think they bounce back after a tough loss to Ohio State. And I think they beat Duke. South Carolina against number 21, Tennessee. I'm going to take Tennessee. Number 12, Alabama against Mississippi State. I'll take Alabama. Mississippi State is not good. Number 7, Washington against Arizona. I'm going to take Washington. Washington has been phenomenal this year. They're kind of sneaky. Michael Penix thrown over 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, 2 picks. He might be the Heisman Trophy winner. I can see Washington being in the college football playoff this year. They are really good. And then you had Nevada against number 25, Fresno State. Fresno State should win, no problem. So that's my college football picks. So before we get to the NFL game picks, then we're going to close this thing out. Joe Namath, of course, Hall of Fame quarterback from the New York Jets, the only Jets quarterback to win a Super Bowl back in 1969, over 50 years ago. Basically, he feels the same way about Zach Wilson as the Jets fans do. So he was on the Michael Kay show on ESPN New York Sports Radio, and they asked him about Zach Wilson, what he thought about him, since he became a starter, since Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and he goes, I didn't take anything positive out of it. When he asked him about the one sack that Zach Wilson took against New England, where he basically just gave up on the play and sat down, he goes, you sit down on a play, you go right down. What happened? I thought you're trying to win and make plays. You quit on a play. What is going on? It's disgusting. Wow. So we're not happy. Then he criticized the regime there, which is head coach Robert Saleh and GM Joe Douglas. These guys aren't picking the right players. They aren't doing a good job of coaching. It's evident. I mean, you've got to look and see. If you have an eye for football at all, and you see things that are things are haywire, it's too crazy. They need to fix it, and that's getting rid of a lot of people and bringing new ones in. They need to make major change from top to bottom. So that is what he said. So Joe Namath feels literally the exact same way as the fans. I know a lot of people in the Jets organization didn't like what he said. Robert Saleh says he's going to agree to disagree with Namath, but I can't blame him. I mean, he bleeds green and white as much as anybody. Ever since he retired, he's watched year after year the Jets just break his heart. Like every fan out there, he's tired of it. And he's tired of this kid, Zach Wilson, just going out there and crapping the bed. And, the Jets organization, especially Robert Saleh, especially Joe Douglas, just saying, oh, yeah, he's our guy. He gives us the best shot. He's got to keep his head up, and we're going to stick with him. So, honestly, good for Jordan. Good for Jordan. I don't blame him. I feel the exact same way. All right, let's get to the game picks this week. Then we'll close this thing out. Thursday Night Football tonight. Lions-Packers. Big rivalry game. First time Aaron Rodgers isn't facing the Lions in the Packers-Lions game in a very long time. I'm going to take the Lions. I know the Packers, they're getting a little bit, they're getting healthier. You get your top back, Aaron Jones, who's really good. You get him back. He missed the last 2 games. Christian Watson, who's supposed to be your top receiver, of course, had a great finish to last year in his rookie year. Hasn't played the first 3 games. He's going to play. But also, when it comes to the rest of the offense, I know Jordan Love has looked a little better than expected, but he's still been a little erratic. He's actually the second most inaccurate quarterback in the NFL. But outside of Zach Wilson, when it comes to his completion percentage, and it's actually very close. I think he's completing 53% of his passes, and Zach Wilson's at 52%. So Jordan Love has shown some promise. He still overall has been a little concerning. The Lions have a real good squad. And also David Bakhtiari, the Packers All-Pro left tackle, is once again hurt. He's on IR, might miss the rest of the year. So third straight year, Dave Bakhtiari might not play more than a couple of games. They're going to have a hard time stopping Aiden Hutchinson. So I'm going to take the Lions, but I think it'll be a really good game. Then on Sunday, we got our first London game of the year. Falcons-Jaguars. Falcons coming at 2-1. Jaguars coming at 1-2. Their offense has struggled the last 2 weeks. Have scored us 25 points over the last 2 weeks against the Chiefs and then the Texans. They're off to a slow start. I'm going to take Jacksonville. I think they bounce back. They play in London more than any other team. They know the atmosphere there. They know, the whole deal over there. I think Trevor Lawrence coming to gets back on track and knock off the Atlanta Falcons. Dolphins-Bills. This is a big game. Dolphins have looked phenomenal so far. Of course, just scored 70 points against the Broncos. Tua's looked phenomenal. Of course, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, that whole offense has looked phenomenal. Bills, since losing to the Jets on Monday Night Football, mostly to Zach Wilson, in overtime, they have come out the last 2 weeks and rolled through competition. They played the Raiders and the Commanders, but still, this is a big game. I'm just going to take the Miami Dolphins. On paper, I think the Bills have a better team, but I think Miami is they're red hot right now. Tua's playing great. That offense is the best offense in football. Their defense is playing pretty well. So, I just think they're playing better than the Bills right now. Yes, the Bills, they beat the Raiders, 38-10. They won 37-3 or something over the Commanders. But the Raiders suck, and the Commanders aren't a great team either. And then the Jets on paper should have a good team. So, that's just, and also Josh Allen can be a little turnover prone. So I'm going to take Miami. I think they're playing better than the Bills right now. Okay, Broncos-Bears. This has a chance to be a very bad football game. Oy. I don't know who to pick. I'm gonna take the Broncos. They're both so bad. But I'm going to take the Broncos. I think the Broncos' offense is all right. I mean, Russell Wilson is not near the same quarterback, but, Javonte Williams is pretty good. He's he's working his way back from an injury. I like the receivers. I know Jerry Jeudy, just can't catch a break, it seems like, but, Courtland Sutton's playing really well. Marvin Mims has looked good. Their defense is awful. But the Bears, Justin Fields is really struggling. They have really struggled to run the ball. Khalil Herbert's looked terrible. The offensive line isn't that good. Fields and Moore have looked out of sync. And the play calling's been horrible. The defense is horrible. The Bears, I think, have the worst team in the league. So I'm going to take Denver, which would be a very bad game. I recommend you don't watch it. It's not going to be enjoyable. But the Ravens and the Browns, so 2-1 teams in the AFC North. Ravens coming off a tough loss in overtime to the Colts. Cleveland beat Tennessee easily, but of course, they're just 2 weeks removed from losing their star back Nick Chubb for the year with a really bad injury. I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. I think they bounce back. I know the Browns got a real good defense, but the Ravens are a good team. I really think the Browns are going to miss Nick Chubb in this game, though Jerome Ford did have 3 touchdowns last week. I'll take the Ravens in I guess, bit of an upset. I feel like a lot of people think the Browns win. I'll take the Ravens. Bengals and Titans. I'm going to take the Bengals. Titans are not very good. Their quarterback situation is very bad. Derrick Henry doesn't look the same. They got no receiver. The defense is just all right. They're as mediocre as it gets. I don't know how healthy Joe Burrow is. He didn't look good against the Rams, but he got through the game at least. He's only thrown for 563 yards, just 2 touchdowns against 2 picks so far through 3 games. But I think the Bengals will look a lot better on Sunday. I think they definitely come through with the win. Rams, Colts. Rams are 1-2. They haven't, going into that week 3, I thought, all right, they haven't looked as bad as I thought they would. They beat the Seahawks week 1 by 17. They only lose by a touchdown to the Niners. But my God, the offense looked bad against the Bengals. Colts have looked all right, though. 2-1. Not sure if Anthony Richardson's going to play. I'm not sure if it'll be him or if it'll be Gardner Minshew. But I'm going to take the Colts, actually. That Rams offense is not good. Of course, they're missing Cooper Kupp right now. I like Kyron Williams. He's played well so far this year. They're running back. But that offensive line is pitifully bad. They're going to have a hard time against DeForest Buckner. Minshew looked pretty good last week. And if Anthony Richardson comes back, I think the Rams could have trouble with him because of how much he runs. I'll take the Colts in that one. All right, Bucs and Saints. Bucs won the first 2 against 2 bad teams, and they got blown up by the Eagles on Monday night last week. Saints are 2-1. Both teams are not that good. That division is so bad. But I'm going to take the Saints. Their defenses look good. It does not bode well for a god-awful Baker Mayfield. They can't run the ball. Saints are probably starting Jameis Winston, but he's facing his former team, so a little bit of revenge on his mind. Possibly, so I'll take the Saints. Commanders, Eagles. I'm taking the Eagles. I don't think it's that close. I know Jalen Hurts hasn't looked great throwing the ball so far. Sam Howell threw 4 picks last week. The Bills have a great defense, but I'm not sold on the Commanders. They've been running it down people's throats right now. I think they continue with that. Their defense is phenomenal, and somehow it's come up with 4 interception games. I'll take the Eagles. I don't think it's all that close. I would not be surprised if they cover the -8. Vikings, Panthers. Another battle of 2 0-3 teams. I think the Vikings come through with their first win. Not sure if Bryce Young is going to play. Vikings, they got a great offense of Kirk Cousins, who's actually leading the league in passing. Justin Jefferson's leading the league in receiving. Also, the Panthers' offensive line is terrible, and Daniel Hunter is second in the league in sacks right now with 5 through the first 3 games. So I think the Vikings are going to pull this one out and get their first win. Steelers, Texans. I'm going to... This is a tough one. Steelers haven't looked great, though they're 2-1. Their defenses look phenomenal. The offenses look awful. They looked a little better against the Ravens, but still not great. Texans look promising, but still obviously aren't that good of a team. I'm going to take the Steelers. I think their offense could, they looked a little better last week. Texans don't have your star corner, Derek Stingley. Not sure if Jalen Pitre is a really good young safety he's going to play in this game. I like what I've seen from the Texans. Stroud looks really good. Tank Dell's look phenomenal. Even Nico Collins look good. But, their defense is not that good. Their offensive line is awful. TJ Watson have a field day. I'm going to take the Steelers. 405, Raiders, Chargers. 2-1, two teams in the AFC West. I'm taking the Chargers. I know they lose Mike Williams for the year, but they still got a rookie receiving core. It's very deep. Keenan Allen just studied 18 catches for over 200 yards last week. He's actually the MVP, the whole like the Nickelodeon award. So some small news there. Joshua Palmer, I think this is a solid player. You got a really talented rookie first rounder in Quentin Johnson. Austin Eckler might come back this week. And the Raiders, they just suck. I'm not sure if Jimmy Garoppolo's going to play. He's looked horrible anyway. Their backup is... Who's their backup again? I forgot. It might be Aiden O'Connell. It was a fourth-round rookie at a frickin' Purdue. Josh Jacobs hasn't looked good. They can't stop anybody. McDaniels is an awful coach. I'm taking the Chargers. Patriots, Cowboys at 425. Okay. About a week and a half ago, I would say Dallas would blow them out of the water. Now, Trayvon Diggs out after a double-digit loss to the freaking Cardinals. This game might be closer than we think. I am going to take Dallas. I think it's a lower-scoring game. But I'm going to take Dallas. I've said before, I don't think Dak is that good. He looked horrible against Arizona last week. And the Patriots defense has looked really good this year, but I'm going to take Dallas. The Patriots offense, I'm really not sold on at all. Their O-line is struggling. I think Micah Parsons is going to have a field day against Mac Jones. I'm going to take Dallas. But I think it's a decently close game. Plus 6.5 for New England is not a bad thing right now. Again, I don't bet. If I give you wrong advice, don't come after me. You just simply because you can't do that, don't care. I'm just trying, think about how close the game's going to be. I'm not giving you betting advice. I don't bet at all. 425 again. Cardinals 49ers. So Arizona hasn't looked horrendous. Week 1, they were in a close game. Week 2, they almost beat the Giants. They collapsed. But they're up 3 touchdowns at one point, and they beat Dallas by 12 last week. Josh Dobbs actually played very well. Their defense has actually played a lot better than I expected. The problem is their offensive line is just pitiful. I am taking the 49ers. Don't think it's all that close. They're firing on all cylinders right now. I think they're the best team in football right now. Obviously, Brock Purdy's got a lot of weapons on offense. Nick Bosa are going to have a field day on Joshua Dobbs. The offensive line is not good. I'm taking the 49ers. Sunday Night Football is the Chiefs and the Jets. Much as I would love the Jets to win, I don't see it. Until they stop running Zach Wilson out there, this team is going to be at best what they did last year, probably 7, maybe 8 wins. I'm picking the Chiefs. I'm not a homer. I don't want to be one. There's nothing that I could say that convince anybody that the Jets should win this game. In fact, if the Jets do, I'm coming on here Monday being like, what is wrong with the Chiefs? How do you lose that game? Just have a great defense, but they're going up against Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Taylor Swift's in the house, so Travis Kelce's going to be in freaking beast mode. And the Chiefs defense is playing really well, and they're facing Zach Wilson and that horrible offensive line. So I'm taking the Chiefs. Monday Night Football, Seahawks and Giants. I'm taking the Seahawks. Giants have not looked good so far. They get embarrassed week 1 against Dallas, 40-0 in primetime. They barely beat the Cardinals, and then they got blown up by the Niners. Not sure if Saquon's going to play. He returned to individual drills, but I still don't think he's going to play. I'm not sure if you'll have your left tackle, Andrew Thomas. So I think it's a close-ish game, definitely closer than the Giants' primetime game last week against the San Francisco 49ers on Thursday night, but I definitely have the Seattle Seahawks winning. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, have a great day.